So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 18 of the series, and in the last episode we saw the demise of the red team, or at least the empire that they had built. Obviously, if you haven't seen the last episode, go check it out. You just got spoiled big time. But the events which led to the red team's demise were pretty interesting. We'll talk about them more later, but if you do enjoy today's episode, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new. All the support is greatly appreciated. And let's go ahead and jump straight into the scenario. Alright, so I guess the direction of the series has changed a little bit. You know, the red team's demise has certainly changed what could be the outcome of it. So where do we go from here? Well, I think firstly we should touch up on East Asia, since we haven't done too much over there in a while. More specifically, if you'll remember, Korea and the northern Chinese country were beefing over the trade routes, which are still incomplete. As you can see here, they both disagree on how these should connect it up. China believes it should be connected up through China, whereas Korea believes it should be connected up only through Korea, forcing trade to go through them before it goes through China. Unfortunately for Korea, the world supports China's plan of bringing it right through Central Asia, and this trade route is finally completed, linking up with the capital of this pink team. And Korea looks kind of stupid having their own little trade route over here, which doesn't enter into Chinese territory. So what will Korea do? Well, they're going to be kind of petty about it. They're going to send their own workers in the Chinese territory in order to link up with the trade route. The Chinese military stops them in their tracks, and it gets a little bloody. There's a lot of disagreements. You know, the Koreans are saying we were forced to do this and you can't stop us. This is for the better of our country. You can't stop us. You know, our country is better than yours. And then the Chinese troops are like, bang, bang, bang. And then there's a war declared. So Korea and China will go to war over a trade route. It turns out this might have been a part of Korea's plan, as they already had troops stationed along China's border and send them in pretty quickly. Now, of course, both teams had troops on their border because of the hostilities towards each other, but Korea had a little bit more. And their troops start storming into Chinese territory, and they are doing so very quickly. Remember, these two used to be friends, now they are not. And Korea is really just blitzkrieging right through the territory. They're not really seeing any kind of stop at all. That is until China finally gets their head out of the sand, and with some probable help from a certain country, they will go ahead and start pushing back against Korea. They make a large cutoff over here, which strands a couple thousands of Korean troops. Luckily, there is an ocean they can flee from. And as China starts to rid Korea of its territory, another country will be joining this war. And that is, surprisingly enough, this country over here, this yellow thing. Why are they joining the war? Well, they want access to the Sea of Japan, and Korea is currently blocking them with their little colonial claim. So they start invading that territory and take it without any resistance. They didn't have any troops there. And Korea is like, yo, not cool, man. But what really is not cool is the fact that they are getting absolutely destroyed on the front against China now. Now, Korea, of course, is one of the most powerful countries in the world. However, they are experiencing a lot of disorganization within. And I think we should talk about power rankings, since the red team is no longer with us. I mean, they are with us, but they're not strong. Number one, of course, we have the lime team. Number two, we have the Dutch country, slash the brown team. Number three, we have the gold team. Number four, we have the dark cyan team. That is the one, of course, in Iberia. And number five, we have Korea. Now, these top five rankings may be surprising to you. Of course, we all know the lime team is consensus number one, but what about the dark green team? Well, they are very large, but also very unstable, and their land is not super valuable. So while being probably the largest country in the world, they are also very unstable, and you know, a little flick could probably knock them over. I think I want to go ahead and expand upon the top 10. So at number 6, we have China. Number 7, we have the blue team in Africa. That is the northern coast one, this one to be exact. Number 8, we have the French green team. At number 9, we have the actual green team. And at number 10, we have the blue team. So there are your top 10 rankings. Of course, these will change in this episode and all the episodes that follow it, but as of right now, post red team collapse, these are the power rankings. I don't think I want to do this in every video because it kind of takes a second. But now back to your regularly scheduled war. English. China continues to push up against Korea, now entering into their own territory. And it is here that we see Korea kind of get a taste of its own medicine. Other countries will not join into this war in hopes of gaining Korean land. So this cyan country over here in Asia will go down. And Korea had no troops on their border with this country because they thought they were chill, but no, they were not in chill at all. This country wants access to warmer waters, and the Sea of Japan is warmer than whatever ice stuff is happening up here. But these guys will not continue any further into Korea. That's for multiple reasons. One, they know that they can't, and two, they don't need to. At this point, Korea is about to file a complaint with HR because they do not think it's fair that the Lime team is openly aiding China out. That is really the only reason that China is just getting their way with Korea right now. The Lime team has overwhelming influence and power. Eventually, some outside countries will get involved as well. That is this pink team here who takes the remaining Korean land. And then finally, we see a large province in northern Korea declare its independence, and Korea at this point is just completely discombobulated. That might be the first time I've ever used that word, but probably not. And with the threat of other outside countries joining in on this war, Korea will go ahead and sit down with East Asia, and they're going to prescribe everyone a chill pill. Alright, in this peace treaty here, you can see that Korea has lost all of its northern land as well as its colonial possession, just like that. Additionally, we see the countries that joined in the war getting their land and their fair share. Korea is forced to demolish its trade route, its stupid little trade route. What a foolish idea. And these guys' capital will be right here on the tip of their land. And just to kind of rub it in, the surrounding countries agree to go ahead and demolish Korea's trade route and run it right through the capital of the new orange country and then into their capital. So yes, the pity and spite is very high in East Asia. But China comes out victorious and they have a lot of land now. South China is sad, although they're not South China anymore, they are just Vietnam. Anyway, now the Lime team is going to, well, I mean, first of all, they have an insane amount of influence. Their influential sphere, if you want to look at it, is, like I said, just huge. Now, I wouldn't say that they have any influence over Arabia. That is the red team's old sphere of influence. And even if they don't really exist anymore, I think that it still is there. But in this yellow circle here, we have the Lime team's sphere of influence. It is a lot, and they are definitely very powerful. They don't have the military might that the red team had, but they have everything else: the political power, the manpower, population. They are the at this point the strongest country in the world. If we want to take a look at other countries' spheres of influence, the brown team also has a fairly large one. It will look something like this. Of course, it stretches so far because of their colonies. Same thing could be said for the Lime teams, but they have all of Western Europe under their thumb. Of course, these new countries here are under their sphere because they were not funded by them during their revolution. That was the gold team. So if you want to look at the gold team sphere of influence, I guess it would look something like this. And then the red teams, which it doesn't exist anymore, but it would be something like this at this point, not very large. And Korea just got obliterated, so they don't really have a sphere anymore. Things like these are always really interesting to look at because it's always the top powers that have the sphere, and they could have other strong countries in their area. For example, the brown team has the green team and the dark sign team in their area. That's because they are kind of under their thumb. Anyway, enough talking about circles and stuff. Let's talk about the Lime team. They are, of course, spread out across the world. We were just talking about that. But they want to continue to expand across the world, so they start expanding their colonies overseas, most notably over here in East Asia, / Southeast Asia / Indonesia, whatever you want to call this area. They also set up a colony in northern Madagascar and slowly but surely start making their way around Borneo. They conquer a Filipino island and start setting up settlements along Java and Sumatra. As you can see, the East Indies are now under the thumb of the Lime team, and no one can really stop these guys. They've become too strong, but they don't have plot armor. Let's remember that. With the growing threat of the Lime team in the region, the Vietnamese country wants to go ahead and also expand their influence. I mean, they don't have any. They're not a top power in the world, but they will attempt to be one day. So, slowly but surely, they make their way around Southeast Asia and start moving into this weird-looking peninsula. In order to stop their little expansion, because the Lime team is very controlling like that, they will order the light blue country to go ahead and colonize the rest and remaining coast of Myanmar. And this will, of course, stop the Vietnamese team from getting further access to the Bay of Bengal. Additionally, they will continue to expand their colonies. But stepping away from one green team, let's talk about another green team. That is the dark green team. Remember, these guys are fairly unstable, and they have finally reclaimed all of their land. Almost. They were more so over here in their beginning stages, but they are fine with where they're at now. However, a revolution occurs. This green team can never catch a break, although it probably should have just chilled out. If it was just a chill country, they wouldn't be experiencing this revolution. But unfortunately, they are. The revolution takes place within the country, and the goal, of course, is to overthrow the government and install a new one, but revolution turns to rebellion, and different provinces within the green team start to break away due to disagreements with the revolutionary government, which is bound to be put in place. We have a northern yellow country up here, a dark brown one over here on the border of the Lime team, a very large dark blue province up in the north of the... Whoa. of the country. And yeah, these are the factions. Now, of course, these are some very large breakaways, but that is because they are a series of provinces merging together into one new province slash rebellion thing. But obviously the green team is, like I said, very unstable and at this point experiencing a large loss. The different cultures and ideas spread across their vast country never were able to merge together into what would be green team culture. And yeah, all the conquered people over the years are done with this. Quickly taking advantage of a collapsing country, the darker red country will gain land along the Caspian Sea, as will the shell of the red country and the purple country, and of course the lime team. But instead of fighting it out till the end, the green team will make compromise with all of the areas and countries involved in this conflict. And what we end up seeing is the survival of the dark green team, but at a cost. And that cost is, of course, a larger amount of land lost. So the green team does still exist, although it is a shell of its former self. But in their peace treaty, they were able to secure one thing that they really wanted, and that was, of course, the ability to still have 2 trade routes running through their territory. Now, how important is that in the long run? It could be fairly important, but the other remaining countries are a lot more happy with their ability to survive and, you know, be larger than what the green team is now. They feel it as kind of like an authority kind of thing, like a power thing. I don't know, but what we do need to know that is in this little squadron of the world right here, all of these countries hate each other equally. There is no love to be spread about with these 4, and it is likely that we'll see a series of wars in the future revolving around these 4 and their surrounding neighbors. There is absolutely no love. They all hate each other. It's really bad. It's like North Korea and South Korea levels of bad. But anyway, in terms of capitals, the yellow team's capital, of course, will be in the major city that lies right here. The blue team will put their capital at the crossroads of these 2 trade routes. And the brown team, they'll just throw those right there. So those are the capitals for our new countries here. And what's unfortunate about having a yellow country is that you can't have like a brighter colored capital. So maybe we'll try something like this. Nope, can't even see that. That's better. It's not as much of an eyesore. But yeah, there we go. So those are our new countries. And now we're going to take a look overseas. And nope, not over here. We're actually looking at Australia because it's about time that this place got discovered. The lime team, of course, being the explorationists that they are, will go ahead and click on the wrong layer and not be able to cover in the right province. God, this is so annoying sometimes. But they discover and start exploring northern Australia and quickly turn back after realizing that this is literally hell on earth and that there is nothing here to offer and that they will never ever return ever again. But on a serious note, they do explore other areas and eventually explore the entire northern coast of this country, or I guess continent thing. And yeah, so there's the northern coast of Australia discovered. They also start looking at some of these specific islands. Back over here in East Asia, this orange country will start to colonize a little bit of the interior of Southeast Asia, as well as this light blue team right here. But now we jump over to Africa, where we have something happening. Not a lot usually happens here, but the northern blue team country will start to expand its borders into Central Africa. Now this is a big step for both this country and I guess humanity as a whole, because to this point they have been fairly reluctant to go into Africa, but they start discovering numerous resources scattered throughout the desert. And with their advances, the dark blue country will also go into the center of Africa. The dark purple team will start an expansion, although they aren't strong enough to really fully go at it. And yeah, the world is now becoming more interesting outside of the old world. Africa is part of the old world, but not in the sense of it being like settled like, you know, all of Europe and Asia are. Even in North America, more and more of the coast is being looked at and explored. And the map of the world is slowly being developed into what it looks like today, which of course we all know what the world map looks like today. It looks like this. Except for them, it looks like this, but with the white areas only, not the gray areas. Anyway, the Irish country will expand its colony in Greenland, and it's time for our Daily Britain update. The yellow team will annex the red team, but not so fast, because after this happens, the lime team will rush right into that territory and start taking parts of land from the red team, or yellow team. I'm colorblind. But not so fast, because the blue team will also start rushing in and take the remaining area. If you guys want to make up Britain lore, go for it, please. That would be extremely interesting because to this point, I've just been randomly doing whatever. That will actually do it for today's episode. Probably a little bit of a short one, but there is a purpose for that. Graduation for me is today. I get to graduate high school, and yeah, that's pretty important, but I won't talk about it too much because I've already talked about it before. So if you guys once again did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new. All of the support is greatly appreciated. If you want to see more of this series, that support helps that out. And I plan on doing a live stream soon for this series. It's not going to be like actual war scenario. We're going to be drawing provinces for every single country, which will take a long time, so it's a perfect thing to do for stream. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll give you guys more information about that when it gets closer. It'll probably be sometime in June. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Kylie Speaks Plays, German Edits, A Random Guy, Patrick Clauser, Life Lamau, JB Countryball 12, Friaza, Hammertoad 45, CTG Canada Flag, Colon Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Yakko, DW Cool Dude, and Serminator. Thank you guys.